So let's get into that transformation. What happened? How were you able to dig yourself out of that hole? Because I'm hearing all these things and I hear like, yeah, you're obese, but you're not that big. Like, yeah, you're pre-diabetic, but you're not diabetic. Yeah, you're on 11 medications, but that could go up to 20 or 30 pretty easily. There's
Yep.
so many people that get to this point and they don't turn it around and they continue going. So what happened? How were you able to start to improve things?
Well, I think really my doctors pushed me into that without them realizing it, because I'm going to a dermatologist, a primary care physician, a cardiologist, a back guy, another guy. I have essential tremors in my hands, and I still have that. And it's gotten better. Like right now, I can hold my hands out. You can probably maybe see a little bit of tremor, but and I'm taking a medication for that. So, but it's very innocuous. It doesn't mess up the rest of your body. So, I, I went to all these doctors and said, I'm on a mission to fix myself. I am not going to be on these meds for the rest of my life. And they were, oh, yeah, you are, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm going, no, I'm not. And I said, so what can I do to fix myself? And other than, well, eat less, exercise more, intake versus outtake, how many carbs you take in and your energy levels, start tracking your stuff, and that'll help you. It was the same old BS that you hear, that if that worked, everybody in this country would be slim and trim and a mean, lean fighting machine, and they're not. They're obese and all this other kind of stuff, and in horrible health. And so when I went to all my different doctors, and none of them, that's not true. I have a naturopathic doctor I go to, and she told me, we got to really focus on your blood work, because your blood work tells the tale of all the stuff going on in your body. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. And we do all the blood, and she'd tell me all this stuff. I wouldn't know what it is. So I'd have to go home and research it and go, oh, okay, now I understand why she meant that, because she had me on something and a supplement, and it was because of thyroid. And I go, well, that doesn't sound like thyroid, but when you research it, it's like, oh yeah, it does. So I decided I'm a one-man mission to fix myself. And I didn't know at the time the phrase N equals one. Somebody told me that when I got involved in Dr. Berry's PhD proper human diet community. And I went, what is N equals one? And they go, well, when you do experiments, if you experiment with 100 people and you do a test or something, or trial, you have 100 people, the N, the number in the group, is 100. I went, oh, okay, N equals one is me. I like that. That's cool. So I said, all right, I'm doing an N equals one, and I'm going to figure out a way to fix myself. And my doctors just kind of laughed, like, oh, okay, well, that's good. You have a good time. See you in 3 months or 6 months. So I started down that path, and I have a good friend named Mark, who is in the proper human diet community. And Mark was 320 or so pounds, 320 to 330, about 8 or 9 years ago. And he is today 165. So he's half Mark instead of full Mark. And he's literally lost half of his body weight. And at first I thought, man, Mark looks like emaciated or whatever. But what I realized was I was so used to seeing fat Mark that when I saw thin Mark, I it just something didn't look right. So I asked Mark, what are you doing? He goes, man, I found this great community. It's called Proper Human Diet. Dr. Berry, he's this country doctor out of Tennessee. And I went, oh boy, here's another hick, Of course, people call me a hick too, or a redneck. But I said, okay. And he said, and all I do is eat carnivore. I said, what's that? He says, all you eat is meat. I went, okay. And for which meal? He goes, all meals. And I go, all meals? And I said, okay. And I said, I like meat, so that's good. And he says, yeah, but no vegetables. And I go, none? And he goes, yeah. I said, yeah, but I really like fried okra, and I really like broccoli, and I really like corn on the cob and stuff like that. He goes, nope. And I thought, okay, this is crazy. And I said, but fruit's healthy and all that. Like, I love watermelon and cherries and blackberries, and blueberries are supposed to be like the best fruit for you and all this. He goes, nope. And I go, Mark, all you eat is meat? He goes, well, you can also eat bacon. I said, well, that's meat. And he said, eggs. And I went, okay, well, that's good, because I like eggs. And you can have a little bit of cheese sometimes. And I go, okay, good. I like cheese. Can I drink milk? Nope. And so he's telling me all this stuff. I went, well, that is freaking crazy, is what I said to myself. So I started researching diets that were lower in carbs, and I somehow landed in paleo land, and I did that for 2 or 3 weeks, and it was less carbs, yes, but I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. So then I said, well, maybe I need to have even less carbs, not all the way to that craziness, but less carbs. So then I went to keto, and keto, I think, is less than 50 grams of carbs a day, something like that. And felt a little better. I started feeling some things and feeling like I had a little more energy and slept better at night and that kind of thing. And but my weight wasn't coming off. I lost like a pound or two, but I'm like, fat boy, you're at 238. You need to be down around in your 180s or 19. Actually, my goal was to get to 197. I don't remember how I came up with that, but I went, you're not moving the needle to get there. It's going to take you years to get there at this rate. So I said, well, maybe I need to come off some more. And then Mark said, well, if you still want to have an occasional good vegetable, and then I didn't know anything about oxalates and all this other kind of stuff that people talk about. But he said, you want to have a good vegetable? Maybe what we need to do, or you need to do, is just come down a little bit more, bring your carbs down to probably less than 20 a day, maybe less than 10 a day. And I started looking around and go, okay, I can eat a little watermelon, and I can eat a couple other things. And he said, that's called ketovore. And I went, okay, so that makes sense. Keto and carnivore, it's kind of bridging in between. He goes, yep. Well, I did ketovore, and I started doing that for like 3 to 4 weeks, I think. I should have logged all this exactly, but I started feeling better. I started sleeping even better at night. My what do they call it at night when you quit breathing and you wake up? Sleep apnea.
Apnea,
That's
sleep
there you go.
apnea.
I wasn't going oh, and sitting up in the middle of the night, like I had before and all that. And I wasn't snoring. Of course, I never hear myself snore, so I didn't believe it. But my throat was sore in the morning from all the breathing through my mouth and stuff. And so, but I was making progress, and I started seeing the weight coming off, and it was coming off like a pound or two a week. And I go, okay, well, they say if you lose a pound a week, that's pretty steady, and all that. And I wasn't missing the carbs. I really missed the Cheez-Its and the homemade vanilla ice cream, but I wasn't missing the carbs. I'm like, yeah, this isn't bad, because Mark just says, whenever you start feeling yourself get hungry, cook you a big old ribeye steak. And I said, well, you mean I could have one for lunch and for dinner? And he goes, sure. And I went, cool. I like this plan. So I did that. And then I said, well, if this is working, maybe if I just go full bore carnivore is what I called it. That was my nickname, full bore carnivore. Then it'll help even more. Well, I went full bore carnivore, and it's like military application here. It's like you see jets. If you've ever been around a fighter base, you see jets taking off, and they take off and they're going like this. And once they clear the runway, they kick the afterburners in, and the jet turns and goes, whoa, and it just goes up out of sight. You hear all this rumble and thunder and everything. And that's what happened to me on carnivore. After being on it for like a couple of weeks, I got on the scale and I'd lost like 8 or 10 pounds. And I went, holy cow. And I wasn't hungry. And all I was eating was beef, meat, beef, butter, bacon, eggs, and a little bit of cheese. Actually, I was eating too much cheese at the time, but I did that. And I was feeling great. And I had a lot of energy. I was going to bed at night. Within 3 minutes of my head hitting the pillow, I was asleep. And this is what I've mentioned before, maybe not to you, but this is not a take a look and go, you're overweight, quit eating or eat less. If your legs are hurting, get some exercise. This is when you hear the phrase that the Chinese torture is death of 1,000 cuts. It's 1,000 little cuts until you finally die. This is exactly the opposite. This is health of 1,000 little things that you can do. So it's the way you eat, it's what you eat, it's when you don't eat, it's how long you don't eat, it's exercise. What kind of exercise? Are you getting high intensity cardio for a short period of time called HIIT training? like sprints and stuff? Or are you getting low intensity exercise so that you're in the fat burning mode for a long time, so your body is burning fat and not glucose? Because when you kick to high, your body starts burning glucose. I'm looking at my personal trainer thinking, oh, thinking, is he going to correct me here? So
You're
it,
spot on.
it's all this stuff. It's I didn't know what autophagy was until I first felt it. I'd never heard of doing an 18-hour intermittent fast, but I switched over. I started eating 2 meals a day. I go, I don't need to eat breakfast, even though I was always breakfast, the most important meal of the day. So I got a great big bowl of oatmeal or a great big bowl of toasted oats or something like that, and not realizing all the garbage I'm shoveling in my body. But I gave up breakfast. I started 18-hour intermittent fasting every single day. And the thing that's different about this diet than all the others I ever tried, Suzanne Summers, Mediterranean, I did them all. The thing that's different about this is there's no cheat day. You don't cheat. That's like saying, I'm married, honey, but I can go out Saturday night and not come home and it's okay. It's like, no, that doesn't work. You're
Doesn't
either
work.
you're either married. Well, it may work for a short period of time, but not for a long period of time. And you may lose body parts in the process. But
Noted. Okay, I'm writing that down.
yeah,
Thanks.
so no, you don't cheat. It's not like I believe in God, but I'm going to go worship the devil one day a week, and that's okay because I'm worshiping God 6 days a week. It's like, no, you don't do that. So this whole thing about the carnivore diet is, buddy, you stay on track and you stick to it.